Welcome to the Let's Talk About Love, Sex, and Infidelity podcast with your host, Todd Krieger. Todd has over 35 years of experience working with thousands of couples as a licensed therapist in his private practice. Todd shares his insights on this show. It's never too early to divorce-proof your marriage or too late to heal yourselves and have the relationship you truly want.
Hi, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about another aspect of infidelity, some questions that a person who's betrayed has. And the question is, do I need to separate to have clarity? Sometimes it's, do I need to separate to have self-dignity? And I understand those questions. To have clarity, sometimes we need some space. To have self-dignity, we definitely cannot go on as business as usual like nothing ever happened, because people that have been betrayed really feel like they're betraying themselves if they do that. So the question is, do we need to separate? I would say, really, the truth is you do need to begin to get clarity, and you need to begin you want to have self-respect. It's very important. The question is, what do you need to have it? And that really does vary from one person to the other. I have worked with people that were betrayed that say, right now, I'm so agitated by my partner's presence that all I want to do is cry or hit or scream or whatever. And I need my nervous system to settle down. And I do think that's true. I think that ultimately, when you find out that you've been cheated on, it's such a shock to the nervous system that you do need to do what you need to do to begin to recenter your nervous system. And there are things that you can do to do that. And sometimes people do need to separate. I've had people spend time with their mothers or fathers or good friend or aunts or whatever, to just be around people that are supportive, that aren't triggering them. Because when you don't separate and you're with your partner, you get triggered. Now, truth be told, most of the couples I work with that are healing from infidelity do not separate. So the person who cheated on you and you discovered it on Tuesday, you're there with them Tuesday night and the following day on Wednesday, and they're right there. And that's the way it oftentimes is. So again, the thing that we're looking for is self-regulation, the capacity to calm down. Because when you calm down is when you could have clarity. Self-respect, that is something I want you to have no matter what you do. And part of that is to be kind to yourself when you have ambivalence, you have mixed feelings. If there's a party that wants to leave, and then there's a party that wants to stay, it's a party that wants to be open to your partner, and there's a party that wants to protect yourself from your partner. There's all these different parts, just that's all there. It's all okay. It's all normal. And don't allow yourself to lose any self-respect if you stay. Sometimes we have friends that are trying to be helpful and say, leave that person. It's easier said than done because you're complex. And people that have been betrayed have probably spent years building this relationship with them, co-creating a relationship, co-creating a family. And it's not that easy to just leave. But if you need to separate, if you feel that will be helpful, then what you do is you put rules in operation with your partner. Okay, I'm going to leave right now. That's not an excuse for you to act out. You need to promise me that you won't. I just need a break from being triggered, and I'm going to go spend time with my supportive friend or supportive family members. And hopefully that person says, yeah, no, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to work on me. I'm going to go to my therapy. I'm going to take care of myself, and just go do what you got to do, hopefully. It is very important to do what you got to do to regulate your nervous system. If you're not separating, though, the key still is, how do I regulate my nervous system? And that usually means giving yourself some space to process and not jump into the relationship business as usual. Some people, after they've discovered they've been betrayed, they actually get hyper attached and hypersexual to their partner. It's a fear response. It's oftentimes a response like, I'll show you that I'm better sexually than the person you were with. There's those kinds of things. Those things usually, those stages don't last very long, because at some point the hurt is there, and maybe you were stimulated by your fear of loss, but at some point you come back to reality and go, whoa, and you need some distance. So if you're not going to physically separate, sometimes you definitely need to sexually separate. Give yourself some time to heal and not merge with your partner. If you've had sexual relationships, even while that person was eating, even then, you just stop. I've had betrayed people say, I'm afraid if I stop to go back to that person. Have some self-respect. And if that person can't handle you healing and they need to run to the affair partner because you're not giving them what they need, bye-bye to that person. That person needs to be grown up enough, or at least be in the process of growing up enough to handle the fact that you're not making things nice for them. You've been through a crisis, and you need time to heal from that crisis. And you need space, whether you're physically separated or you need some emotional separation. And you definitely probably need a period of time of sexual separation. All this is about you kind of listening to yourself, calming down so you're not letting your fear run the show, and then saying, what's right for me here? What's right for me here? So you need to be your own person as part of healthy separation, or I would say differentiation, where you're being your own person and you're not acting to stop that person cheating on you, or you're acting to keep the family together when you've been so betrayed. And so give yourself permission to have space, even if you're not wanting to or able to give yourself leave or have that person leave for a while. It is important as a couple to come together, maybe get some couples therapy, have some conversations, some healthy dialogues, but you also might need some time separate, alone, to heal, to do the things that can heal. Some people I know, they've spent time journaling or art, or just needing some time to replenish and center their energy. So do that for yourself. And again, the question is whether you need to physically separate. Part of it is, do I have an opportunity to do that? Number two is, do I feel it's necessary? Because obviously it's just one more disruption. A lot of times it's a little easier with no kids to do those things. If you have kids around, it could be more disruptive to the kids. There's oftentimes an energy to keep things as stable as they can, even while you're going through this very unstable period with your partner. You just need to give yourself permission to do whatever healing you need to do. And if you feel the need to leave, and you can do that comfortably and have the means to do that comfortably, or at least you have the means to do it somehow, then yeah, you can do that with rules in place. Like I said, with your partner. This doesn't mean that there's ways to separate. If you're going to separate, you don't want to just have each partner drink every night and party it up and forget about their troubles. That's not what the separation is about. It's really about getting more in touch with you, not running from you, but facing your own experiences and learning from it, maybe getting some professional help, and then coming together as you try to heal. So hopefully that helps a little bit on that. Again, you need to separate on some level, whether it's physically or emotionally, definitely sexually, for a period of time to consolidate this crisis and to heal from it. So thanks for listening. This is Todd Krieger, making the world safe for love.
That's it for today's episode of Let's Talk About Love, Sex, and Infidelity podcast with your host, Todd Krieger. For free resources and materials, head over to toddkrieger.com. Loved this episode? Head over to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and leave a review. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.